What is good viber? I'm just sewing my neighbor's pants and wanted to talk about what I learned this week. So that's what we're going to be talking about. This week has been, this is by the way, like mid-March, right? Like this is the last week of winter. And I learned a lot with communicating and patience and perseverance and prayer, but especially balancing my emotions when communicating with others and just in general facing the world around me. So what does this look like? Well, I don't really feel like going on a rant about my day and how it was. It was a blessing and I'm thankful. Like, again, what is good, JT? Blessings. I just feel led to just share. Today is the 1 year anniversary of my grandmother's passing, and really made me think about life and death, and the inevitable parts of passing down something to a generation. And I'm so thankful that my grandmother has done that on so many levels. And with that being said, I think it gave me a greater perspective of connecting with others and what we leave behind, be it like a stranger interaction, or be it, your blood and flesh and blood family. But the top thing that I have learned this week is to have patience when communicating with other people. Don't expect them to know why, to just know why they may feel certain ways, or how can I put this? Don't expect them to know the obvious. There it is. Yep. You have to have patience. Don't expect them to know the obvious, because what seems obvious to you does not mean it's obvious to them. And that's okay. We all know something somebody else doesn't know, and we have to have patience when we're communicating with each other, because there are a lot of things I don't know that they may know, and vice versa. So taking that into account, I think this week has been a really big one, and that's what we learned. So what is good? Please let me know, what did you learn? What we learned this week? What we learned, all right? Because the lessons were pouring down. I learned that, and this sounds silly because it's almost repetitive, like, people have different perspectives than you. Like, they really do, and you can't even conceptualize what their perspective is because it's so unique to where their awareness is. Same thing could happen to two different people, and they could have a totally different experience in their mind. That is a big thing. I'm learning about communicating my fears in a way that actually allows me to address them, because people will give you that perspective of understanding that your fear is not as scary as you may think, in the best way. This is definitely a big one. I'm also learning about surrendering. I think that we learned a lot about just being okay with being wrong, being okay with telling someone that they're wrong, like, just being okay when things do not go right. Big lesson. It's okay. Not taking yourself seriously. Big lesson we learned. Like, not to say that there aren't serious things in the world, but you're gonna live, you're gonna play or not play and say it's serious, and then you're gonna die. I feel like there is a sacredness in the understanding of what is serious, but just like the concept of sacredness, we can often say maybe things are sacred when they're not, and then that kind of tramples the sacredness. And we can do that vice versa, I guess. I think I'm thinking a bit too deep in that, but we learned. We're still learning that one. This concept of sacredness, though, is definitely something I feel. For me, my awareness of sacredness is going back to that idea of space and time. It's going back to that idea of you're going to die one day, and whatever you leave behind is only going to be, I guess, remembered by those that you left it with. I'm realizing that you're never going to know when you will need somebody or are able to help them. Like, because we've learned that you can't hold back good from others, all right? Like, just don't hold back good from others if you can do it. Just don't do it. Like, there's no need to stall up the time like that. Just do what you can. I've learned not to trust even the people that you trust. Not to get paranoid or anything. That's not the purpose. But it's to acknowledge that even they might not. You can trust God. You can trust the source of all life. You can trust the being that is within them. But it's almost like this idea of you have to trust yourself more. Yep, there we go. You have to trust yourself enough to trust them. Like, if you don't trust yourself and then you trust them, there's not that stability or grounding that comes. I don't even know if that makes sense. Disciples fell asleep on Jesus. Oh, Lord. It's funny that you say that, Michael, because I literally saw a meme of, like, Paul, like, waking up and being like, what's going on here? Yeah, when Jesus asks them to pray. Yeah, you gotta trust yourself, man. Like, yes, it's great to trust other people, but, like, when things go crazy, you can't blame the other people you trusted for trusting in them. You trusted yourself to make the right decision, to trust the people that are trustworthy. So, you know how it goes. That is a lesson. I'm learning that it's okay to communicate that's just the negatives. It's okay to communicate. It's okay to express negatives. It is. And I think a positive environment includes expressing the negative in the light where it is not, where it's being acknowledged. I'm getting tired, but we're like halfway through. I think I might need more thread. I think that I saved lives, girl, but oh my gosh. Okay. Alright, well, I have learned that each person has their own form of communication. Some people use numbers. Some people use words. Some people use colors or sounds. Some people just eyeballs, I guess. And some people, it's different ways, different forms of communication, different ways that they feel comfy and safe. We must find a way to balance that guided trust and love. Yeah, I think that is a lesson right there. That definitely is a lesson. Okay, what have I learned with all of these lessons? I'm gonna have to tie another piece of thread because could I make it? I could maybe make it, but I'd still want it to be secure for her. Okay. I'm learning that it's okay to say no, guys. It's okay to say no. It's always been okay to say no. But when you're the one that's gonna get the said no to, you're just like, no, Lord, please don't let them say no. And then what are you gonna do? Oh, they're gonna say no. That's God, though. It's all still God. I'm learning to trust in God, and I'm learning that everybody really is just a divine reflection of this understanding. Thanks, breathe. I'm breathing, James. I'm breathing. Thank you. Lots. What is good, Chris? What is good? There's a lot we have learned. I'm learning how to relax in a I'm learning how to relax in a productive way, because it's obviously a waste unless you're productive, unless you're relaxing to be productive. Obviously, no, I'm learning how to relax. I'm learning how to relax. Yes. I'm learning, like, I would rather be always learning than know and pretend like I know. I don't know. I'm not gonna act like I do. Really, right now I'm trying to get these 2 strings and tie them together. Finish sewing this pants so I can call it a night. Do you guys know how to sew? I mean, of course you do. It's kind of like asking if you know how to brush your teeth. It's like, see, maybe I'm assuming because right now I'm sewing my neighbor's pants, and she should know how to sew. I should teach her how to sew. Okay, life lesson right there. Life lesson. When I was young, I learned how to sew. I think when I was 9, I started sewing with a machine. Before then, I would just use a needle and thread. And I was so excited when I first learned how to use a sewing machine. I wanted to teach my brother, my baby brother, which was 4 years old at the time. I was 9, he was 4, and I wanted to teach him how to use the sewing machine that I had just recently learned. So I brought him to the sewing room, and I showed him the beautiful sewing machine, and I said, listen, don't step on that presser foot, because the needle is very sharp. And I remember as a 9-year-old, as a child, putting my finger underneath the needle to point at how sharp it was. At that moment, my distracted 4-year-old brother looked at the presser foot and he stepped on it, because all he heard was, step on the presser foot, needle very sharp. He did not realize that he accidentally pressed the presser foot when my finger was under the needle, and until like we both looked at it and we both screamed, and thankfully I have a very low threshold for pain, so it was totally numb. I just looked at my finger and thought it was super cool, and I showed it to my mom and her friend that was there, my godmother, and yeah, it was great. My brother hid in a closet for fear that he would get in grave trouble for what he did. I was kind of more bitter about that, honestly, than getting the needle in my finger and breaking off the needle. Like, that's what really made me bitter for a while about him. I was like, really? You decided to hide in a closet when your sister could have died from the needle that was But he was 4 and I was 9, so what you gonna do? Good times. I have never done anything like that. I've never pricked myself with a needle since that situation. That being said, yeah, sewing is a good skill to have. It is something that I'm learning to value more and more. I'm valuing that each person has a valid perspective and something that the other person can learn from. It's a journey. It is such a journey. All right. All right. These, I'm learning scissors need to be sharp if you're going to cut things off. Okay? They need to be sharp. Ooh, wow. That's very symbolic, Esther. I wonder what that means. Okay. That being said, as we cut, we must now find the needle without accidentally pricking ourselves. I may have jinxed myself. There it is. Thankfully, you can feel them when they go. I'm gonna use my phone, but yeah. We live and we learn. Just like finding a needle in a haystack, finding a needle without a haystack is also kind of challenging, if I'm being honest. It's not like it gets easier. There it is. It does. All right. What's good, T-Skills? What's good? And, okay. Beat Mom Eat, James Harden, good to see you both. We're all clowns in the end. We all play a part that some people think is a joke. And wear our masks. T-Skills, good to see you out here, fam. Alright, we're really just trying to fix these pants for my neighbor. And, I missed where I am at, but okay. Okay, almost done. Okay. Alright, so I want to address that I've learned a lot about communicating in relationships, all different kinds of relationships, guys. I mean, we're all just like communicating with the trees. I apologize to the trees. I realize that some trees like it when you hug them, some trees do not. Some trees are bitter because people have been shitty to them. That's understandable. I've learned a lot from communicating with the trees this week. I've learned that trees can be self-conscious, but not in the way that we're self-conscious. I don't think, no. It's usually like their roots don't go deep. All right, now I'm done going on a rant about trees. That was one relationship, though, that I found really nice, okay? And, yeah, okay. I found one other relationship. I found relationship with the community. Discord fam, really, really wholesome. And really appreciate them, and I just appreciate you guys. Appreciate you learning how to communicate better. Really want to be able to get better at communicating. I don't feel like I'm the worst in the world, but you could do better. You do better. Oh yeah, I just want to do this. So yeah, that's important. Now, I'm learning that it is okay to communicate when, I've already said this, when you're not okay. It's okay to actually, like, to say shitty things, like, in the best way possible, like, with all due respect. Like, these, the words are there for a reason, and I think it's important to communicate that. Absolutely. Yeah. So, be honest with us. Do you really be knowing what you be talking about in these videos? I think I make it very clear that I don't. And I hope that you know this. Because I would be lying if I said I did, like straight up. I study it, sure. I research it, I pray to God. I channel through and all of this stuff. And even so, I could not tell you, like, yes, I know it. In my heart, I'm like, yeah, I share what I share because I know what I share. And I know that I don't have to know everything to share what I know. In the simplest terms, I share what I like to learn about. I share what I am learning about. And I share what I'm going through. So, in hopes that hopefully I will grow in understanding and wisdom and be able to help somebody else who may be going through something similar. But for real, I'm not gonna lie to you and say, yeah, I know what I'm talking about 100%. I mean, right now I'm talking about lessons I've learned in my life, so I feel like I should know what I'm talking about a little bit because it's like my life and what I've learned. And like, yeah, that just doesn't make sense. Sorry, yeah. But yeah, all due respect, I've never met one person that I feel like 100% knows what they're talking about. I think it's nice to have the openness to understand that nobody knows everything, but we all have a unique perspective that can assist each other in getting the whole picture. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Sometimes I really wonder, like, yo, why? Why are we creating things? Why do we do this? Like, why do we create content? What are we here to do? And then I think, well, what is anybody here to do? We literally were just birthed into the world, couldn't speak, couldn't really even understand what's going on, just getting used to our perception, and then everybody's like, oh yeah, like, you know, our spiritual ego gets the best of us. We think that we transcended. All right, fair enough. Fair enough. Yes. Caterpillar to a butterfly, and much love, love, light shining. Dude, I feel like you doing the like sad like face, and it's like making me think like, ooh, you okay? Something on your heart that you'd like to share? Like, here to listen if you need it, fam. Yeah, but much love and light, gratitude beyond eternally. I love tacos too, man. So, James, I would like to say that's a really good question. I'm happy you asked because I've been meditating on it. And this is something that my grandma would be proud of you for asking. I believe that, in a way, I've understood from the moment I made this YouTube channel. I've been reminded that, hey, you are increasing or amplifying magnitude of whatever you share. So be aware of what you share. Be aware of where you are leading people. And I think that this is really important point. So when I make videos, generally speaking and like genuinely speaking, I ask in my heart, like, okay, what would serve everyone involved most? I just pray on it, trust in God, and yeah, just talk. Sometimes I really do think, I'm like, oh man, you know, who am I to share? But then it's like, all right, if I be breathing air, if I be alive for this time, and if I know that I have a mission here, which comes through really clearly, then okay. Do I know what the mission is? Because I feel like my mission is, of course, to help you with your mission, and your mission is help me with my mission, and it's like, okay, so what's the mission? And that's when I do like the shrug, and I'm like, I guess we'll see, you know, just trust that as long as we know that there's a mission, that we're on the mission. And what do I see the mission as? Okay, the best way I can describe it is like, I don't want to think too. Okay, I'm a visual person, so I think of a fractal of color. I think of each person being this puzzle piece in this larger scale of high definition, crystalline vision color. And we all have this little code within us that is a sequence of these colors, or a sequence of what we are here to bring awareness to. And so what we're here for our message to bring. Oh, what's good, MD, Mr. Trying to say your name correctly, because I know you'll be commenting, but I feel like I really butchered it there. And yeah, so I believe that we all have a beautiful mission within us. And as we shine it, it just naturally amplifies. It amplifies the shining, okay? I think I'm almost done with these payments. I think I'm almost done. Didn't realize it. Okay. All right, we're almost done. Almost done. Almost done, girl. Okay. All right, so if you ever need to sew anything, this is like I forgot, but this is a great stitch across any open seams. What's good? Meditative juice. And it can really help clear it up. So you do this on the inside of the garment so it doesn't show on the outside. And you can kind of, this is also how you would kind of add patches to things. And I've been sewing my dog's toys a lot back up because he decides to bite the heads off of them. Not all the time, but he's been chewing up his stuffed animals, which is okay. Actually, when I first really got into sewing, I really wanted to create stuffed animals. Because I didn't have any friends, guys, when I was younger, okay? So I had to make friends with the objects around me. Anyways, so I actually made a depression stuffed animal to help me through my depression. I remember cutting out a paper heart and putting it in them and just kind of vibing. Their name is Mr. Buggles. And yeah, I will show you Mr. Buggles because Mr. Buggles is deserving. My dog ate one of his eyes, and I'm a little upset about that, to be honest, because dogs shouldn't be eating they're not, shouldn't be eating buttons like that. Like, that doesn't make no sense. No sense. But yeah, I'm honestly thinking of doing like a nice relaxing sewing project and making some more stuffed animals. Let me know if you guys want a depression friend. You don't have to be diagnosed with depression or anything like that if you just want to have a little stuffed animal. Yeah. Okay, but I'll show you Mr. Buggles. Whoa, was made to give snuggles. Yeah, that sounds so cheesy, but okay. There he is. One of his eyes are off, and he's been through a lot. I also put fabric softener strips inside of him, so at one point, when you threw him in the wash, he would smell really good, and he'd make all the blankets smell good. But I've had him for a very long time. And he's still alive. He's still going, and we love him. We just love him. I used to freak out my sister and put him around the room to kind of like just fuck with her because she was like convinced it was like a voodoo doll, and I was like, nah, man. I was just depressed and wanted a friend. Do what you gotta do. Do what you gotta do. So yeah, sewing is pretty nice. I think that it's one of those skills that you should just kind of have, just in case. If you need to sew up somebody's flesh or a button or a jacket, you know, it's good to have the skill just in case anything, you know. So yeah, I've learned a lot with communicating and like how I say it. If I'm fearful, I'm gonna communicate in a way that's just gonna manifest that fear, and people reflect that real fast, which is great because you get that feedback real fast. But yeah, it's something that I'm growing in awareness of, and I'm acknowledging, and I'm thankful for. So yeah. Okay, well, let's see the moment of truth to see if these pants are, like, okay. Because they're not for me. I just want to make sure that I get okay. I'm gonna cut that. Okay, just making sure. Okay, alright, this is looking good. Cut this string right here. We'll close this off. Sewing is a good life skill, guys. Alright, that's all I'm gonna say on that. It's never too late to learn. Very relaxing. And I cannot tell you the times sewing skills have come in handy for real. Exactly. I would like to sew my own clothes. I'm gonna be honest, I don't really buy my clothes. Like, I mean, I've been blessed with a lot of siblings and one shopaholic friend, which feeds my closet as much as her own, which is great. Love her. But would like to sew more. I would like to just sew a little bit more. I think it's a very relaxing hobby, and doing this with you all definitely brought that to my awareness. I'm learning how to do things in a nice, harmonious way. Like, I don't have to choose, like, should I sew? Should I talk? Make it like a video? I can do both. You can do both. And then you have the time to do the things you need and want to do. It all, like, fits together. It's supposed to fit together. Everything in the mission fits together. It's like a part of God's vision. Everything in the mission is a part of God's vision. I need to make that a rap. I need to make that a song. All right, let me calm down. All right. Okay. The cookies aren't done cooling down until Mom says, "Oh." I'm sorry, but I felt that one on a spiritual level. Yeah, man, don't go eating the cookies unless you made the cookies, okay? Then wait for Mom. Okay, wait for her to say, oh, man. I just want to remind you of how meditative cooking is. Like, if you have the opportunity to cook from scratch, I dare you to make your favorite meal and to just enjoy that process, because you can inject so much love and just magic, you know? You can inject so much and create such a healthy relation with your food. And, all right, now I'm getting a bit off, you know, a little bit of a rant, but yes, okay, and I'm fasting, so that's probably why. That's fine. That's fine. Well, fasting is definitely something I'm thankful for. I'm thankful for flexibility in communication, that there are so many ways that we can communicate with one another, and even though we might have a preferred form of communication, it's like we have multiple layers of ways that we can connect with one another, if that makes sense. Okay, so let me see if I finish these pants. And thank you for coming through. I feel so blessed to be able to talk about these things and to share these reflections with you. I'm still learning, and I'm trying to break down different topics of what I've learned in different parts of my life that I feel like would be helpful to share. And we are still getting there. We're still getting there because, you know, yeah, girl structures things one at a time, so it is what it is. All right, I'm okay with that. I think these are good. Let me just check to make sure there are no more holes. Okay, and yeah, what can I say? It is a blessing to be able to do them. B-ball game is starting. Much love and so much light to you as well. Yes, these pants look good. Thank you so much for joining and tuning in. I really appreciate it. And I do hope that you learned something as well. And I would love to learn, you know, what we learned this week. All right? Maybe we'll start a little series of it just going live and kind of asking people what they learned this week. We'll see how that goes, all right? I'm not going to say anything's in stone, but yes, thank you so much for joining, and I appreciate you. See you in the next video. Namaste. God bless.